busting. Many brothers I be sparking and rushing, man, like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my sacred life.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations. And today we're going to be doing a little bit of a follow-up to Boruto episode 215 because it's time for us to address a lot of the outrage that people have about what was going on with Rock Lee. Why didn't Rock Lee go into the 6th and 7th gate and use more destructive force against somebody like Isshiki? And why were you in a situation where Choji didn't use the butterfly mode? How come we didn't see Choji trying to use that overpowered ability? And I want to go ahead and address a few of these things because I think that people are forgetting some of the information that was in the episode. And I also want to kind of point out the fact that like Isshiki is a lot stronger than Jigen. You saw what Jigen did to Naruto and Sasuke. In the manga version, Jigen was strong enough that it only took 2 hits to knock Naruto out of his chakra mode. It did not last anywhere near as long as what you saw in the anime, but because we're talking about the anime, we're going to use the anime stuff in order to kind of get there. But we'll get to that in a second. But I just want to say I understand the outrage. I totally understand the outrage. Back when the manga was coming out, I personally wanted to see Rock Lee be one of the people that pulled up, and I'm glad that the anime did that because Rock Lee is supposed to be one of those people that pulls up when you have those huge village level threats. That's part of Rock Lee's duty to the village. So I'm glad that we saw that being done right there. But there's a very specific reason why you did not see Rock Lee just go super balls out when he was fighting against Isshiki and he was fighting in the base power level. So what you have to remember is that in the episode, one of the things that we find out is the fact that when Konohamaru and Tenten and Choji and Kiba and Rock Lee pull up against Isshiki, they're still evacuating that portion of Konoha. It was not fully evacuated yet. So things like the butterfly mode where Choji's going to take up this huge space, destroy a bunch of buildings and potentially harm civilians, Choji could not use that level of power. It's the same situation where when Naruto was fighting against Delta, Naruto was having to use a lot of containment when it came to his destructive capability. He had to keep everything kind of isolated to a certain extent. That's why you didn't see Choji go into that butterfly mode. When it comes to Rock Lee going into that 7th and 8th gate, when it comes to Rock Lee, I mean, you're kind of in the same situation. So using like the absolute low ball, if you're somebody like me who does not think that Rock Lee is anywhere close to base Naruto in terms of power, despite that 16 years of training, which is a whole nother video in of itself. People blow up the line about Kurama saying that Naruto got rusty. He just lost battle sense. He didn't lose power. But getting back to it though, if you say that Rock Lee is somewhere in the same ballpark as Might Guy, when Might Guy was fighting against Kisame on Whole Turtle Island, you were in a situation where one of Guy's attacks was enough that it shook the entire island. If Rock Lee uses something like Morning Peacock and starts igniting the air on fire with the shockwaves from the punches and etc., if you're in a situation like that, you're going to cause more widespread damage to the area that you're fighting in. So that prevents Rock Lee from being able to tap into a level of power like that as well. Again, I would have loved to have seen it, but it was not something that was going to happen under those conditions. But with all that being said, though, even if he used that power, it still wouldn't have mattered. And honestly, if you would have been in a situation where Rock Lee goes into the 6th or 7th gate and he still gets taken out in one hit, people are going to be raging and upset. You're not going to be able to talk logic or reason with none of them. Like, the fact is that you're talking about somebody who, even after Naruto goes into Sage's 6 pass mode and stacks the QB chakra mode on top of it, Naruto gets knocked through several buildings and Naruto's like, yep, this guy's strong. The same guy that Naruto is fighting was stronger than somebody that knocked Naruto out of his chakra mode in 2 hits in the manga. The same guy that Naruto's fighting right now is strong enough that 5 hits was enough that it left Sasuke near death. 2 direct hits and then 3 slaps from a chakra rod left Sasuke near death, unable to stand. So what the hell was Rock Lee in the 6 or 7 gate gonna do? Chances are he would have been taken out in 1 hit. Maybe you can make the argument that Rock Lee's probably somewhat closer to Kashin Koji, but even if you look at that and say Rock Lee's in that ballpark of Sage Mode Kashin Koji, the difference on that is that Kashin Koji was in a situation where he could fight at 100% power because he didn't have to worry about other people being around him. The fact of the matter is that fighting inside of the village that you're supposed to protect, where there are innocent people around you, that is a huge handicap. Why do you think Naruto was buying time even further when he first showed up, waiting for the okay from Ino to go all out? In the manga, when Naruto tried that and he's going against Isshiki, Isshiki directly started destroying chunks of the village in front of Naruto, using the village against him. When you're in that situation, you cannot use your full power. Now, you could do some type of containment like how Naruto did, but even then, when you're keeping your power in check, you're still running the risk of destroying the village. That's what Naruto was worried about when he rushed in and fought against Isshiki in the manga. He directly says that this battle will destroy the village. That's the whole reason why Boruto teleported them out of there, was so Naruto and Sasuke could fight at the full power and not have to worry about destroying the village. Rock Lee was in that situation. The same with Choji in the butterfly mode. The only difference is it just wouldn't have made any difference. They're not strong enough. But the way the anime structured it, to where it made more sense for you to see Naruto go Sage of 6 Paths mode, then QB Chakra mode right on top of it, opposed to how it was in the manga when he shows up and just busts into full power right then and there. The anime actually fixed the problem that the manga did. It did a slow build up to where you could see the characters fight 100% serious. Rock Lee was just a victim of circumstance. Same with Choji. When it comes to Tenten, I've seen people say, why didn't Tenten take the Sage of 6 Paths tools with her? That's a fair critique. The only problem is that the Sage of 6 Paths tools would have been absolutely useless against Isshiki. I think people forget the fact that he's able to shrink the Sage of 6 Paths tools with this dojutsu. So on top of using tools that are gonna consume an enormous amount of Tenten's chakra, as stated by the Naruto manga, that those tools require an enormous amount of chakra, but the tools get shrunk the moment that she even wields them. Just like the shuriken were shrunk when Naruto and Sasuke were throwing them at Jigen. So those would have been useless at that point. When you get to characters like Jigen and Isshiki, they're just matchup nightmares. They nullify a lot of your arsenal even if you're able to fight at full power. But with Rock Lee, again, I think that this was more circumstances. Fighting inside the village, fighting where there are people still being evacuated. He had to try and fight in base form and wait to see if maybe more people got evacuated and then go into some of those higher forms with the 8 inner gates. But the fact is that you're in a situation, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth gate, it doesn't matter. The dude's getting stomped. I strongly believe that Rock Lee would have been bodied even if he's in the 6th or 7th gate in 1 or 2 hits. I don't think that things are going to change at all. And I'll just say this for context. If you look at what Gar said in the Boruto the movie novelization, the way that Gar was talking, it strongly implied that Rock Lee's power level is somewhere around the power level of Gaara and Sakura, who Gaara also stated Sakura was in the same ballpark as him before Sakura used the Byakugo seal. So, which for clarification, the light novel where Gaara says that Sakura is relative to him and could potentially have actually surpassed him, that's in the Gaara Hida novel that takes place just before Boruto's born. And the Boruto movie novelization is obviously 15 years after the 4th Great Ninja War, and in that, again, it's implied that Rock Lee is somewhat relative to Gaara and the other Kages, which at that point, it just comes down to whether or not you think Gaara was referring to base Rock Lee or whether or not he was talking about Rock Lee using the inner gates, because that is something that Gaara would know that Rock Lee had power for. So if you highball and you say that Gaara's talking about base Rock Lee being relative to the Kages, then sure, you might have something right there. But Isshiki is on a completely different level. I don't think that even if he's relative to that, if Rock Lee goes into the 7th gate, he's going to do any better than Sage's 6-pass chakra mode Naruto. It's not going to happen. Again, Sasuke was left near death after 5 hits, so I don't see Rock Lee doing much better than that. However, I'm curious to know where you guys put Rock Lee, not only in terms of power, but how well do you think Rock Lee could have done if he was given the opportunity to fight Isshiki in the 7th gate? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.